Hey everybody, 4-Gun Guy here, and this is another 3-gun video in my 3-gun video series. In this video, we're going to be focusing on the equipment that's going to make our shotgun, our pistol, and our rifle run smoothly in our 3-gun matches. There's a lot to cover here, so let's get started. Well, let's talk about what we're going to go over. We're going to start with the belt and a belt system. We're going to go to the holster next. Then we're going to look at magazine and shot shell caddies for the belt. We'll look at the magazines themselves for the AR and for our pistol. We'll look at ammo storage options, slings briefly, optics choices, hearing protection, eye protection. Then we'll look at the buggy or cart if you want to use a buggy or a cart. And finally, we'll talk about some miscellaneous items that you might want to have available for each match. Let's start with the belt system. Now, you can buy a lot of cheap belts and go through them like I did, or you can just go right to the belt that's going to do you the best good. You're generally going to end up with a 2-belt system, and the way this works is you have an inner belt, which has the Velcro on it, and you're going to put this on your pants, and I'll show you this in a minute, but it's going to be in your belt loops on your pants. Make sure you get pants with large enough belt loops, because that's something I didn't do in the first place also. And then you're going to have this utility type belt. Now this is a Safariland, I think it's an ELS 32 belt, and I really like this thing. It's stiff enough, and then what you can see is this has the loop material on the inside of it. So you've got the Velcro on that inner belt that goes here, then you're going to put this on like this, and it's going to start adhering to that inner belt. And then you just attach this. I'm just going to do this like this here. And then there's a hook that comes over here that holds the belt in place. And this is the best system I've found. Now, there are other belt systems out there. Do your research. The other thing you're going to want to make sure is that you get the mounting systems that are going to go onto this belt. Now, we're going to talk about mag pouches in the next section, but just so you know, this is the Safariland Quick Connect system. And so what you can see here is I can open this up, push these two in, and now I can just take this right off the belt. So look for this type of functionality. You want modularity in your belt so you can adjust things quickly and you're not having to, take them off the belt and then slide them back on the belt. So from a belt system standpoint, it's pretty straightforward, and you're just going to get things that, that attach to the belt, the things that you need. Let's talk about the holster. Some things you're going to want to look at in a holster are the retention of the holster. And what we mean by that is how does it hold your pistol? Now let's get something out of the way right now. Pistol is unloaded. Pistol is unloaded. There's nothing in it. But the retention is, you'll hear this click. Listen, right? That click means that it's being retained in the holster. So I can walk, I can run. In 3-gun, I can move around, and this thing isn't going to go anywhere. But when I'm ready to use it, it can easily be pulled out and drawn, okay? So you're going to want a holster with good retention. Generally, they'll have retention adjustments on them like this one does. I can adjust the retention up and down, but that's all that means when you hear the term retention. The different holsters you'll look at, like I started with some Safariland holsters, and I loved them. And they had some great features in them that really had good retention. So research those. If you're just running a normal, a Glock, Springfield Armory pistol, any of those type stock pistols, look at those types of holsters. This holster was made by Robert at Triple T Holsters when I got my Tanfolio pistol. And Robert's 3 doors down from Patriot Defense. So it was easy for him to fit the holster to the pistol. Let's get a closer look at this, and we'll talk about some things that you want to consider. So So when you're looking at a holster, you want to consider a couple things, right? Or more than a couple things. Number one, as I said before, the retention, right? Is it going to be held in place in the holster so you can move around? Number two is what am I going to run on my pistol? Am I going to use iron sights? Am I going to mount a red dot like I have on this? And where am I going to mount that red dot? If you're going to run iron sights, then the make of the holster really doesn't come into play that much. You're just going to go out, you're going to buy a holster for that specific pistol. If, however, you do think you're going to mount a red dot on it, right, then you need to consider can that holster handle a pistol with a red dot? Now, Robert, I told him that I was going to mount a red dot on my pistol, so you can see he made this cut here in the holster, right, so that the red dot wouldn't interfere at all. One other thing to consider is this. Again, the pistol is unloaded. I showed you that earlier. With this 10 folio, right, I have some options. Now, I've mounted the red dot onto the slide, right? It's slide mounted. So every time I fire this gun, the red dot goes back with the slide. I have the option on the 10 folio for a frame mount. So I could put a mount here, bolt it to the frame, and then the mount would come up over the slide, and then I could mount the red dot on that mount. What the nice thing about that is, every time you fire the pistol, the slide comes back, but it doesn't interfere with the red dot, right? It's people have said that it's a little easier to stay on target with a frame mounted mount than a slide mounted mount. So just some things to consider there. Consider that. The other thing is, do you want the holster to ride high on your belt, or do you want it to ride a little lower like this one does? If you notice here, see if I can show you, this has a bit of a drop mount to it. So right here, you can see that the mount drops off of the belt. This is called a drop mount. And this is what's called a Boss. Boss makes these. So it's attached to the belt, then there's a drop, and then the holster is attached to that. I like that because I don't have to reach way up here to draw. It's kind of natural to come up like this, and then you're out, okay? So think about things like that. The other thing that I did with this belt is, if you notice, there's a strap coming here, and I just did this myself. So it comes through the Boss mount, and the strap's around my leg, and this just retains, it holds this holster against my leg better. So these are just some other things that you're going to want to consider for a good holster. Now we're going to focus on magazine pouches. So we're going to focus on the two types, the pistol pouches and the AR pouches. Let's talk about the pistol first. Nothing in the pistol. Pistol is unloaded. There's nothing in these magazines at all. So let's start with that. Safety first. I'm using the Ghost 360 magazine pouches. There are a ton of different magazine pouches out there. Do your research. I really like these because they're very simple. They have very good retention to them, so I can run around with these things. My magazines have never fallen out. The thing that you want to consider is, do you want them angled? Do you want them straight up? It's going to be a decision that you need to make for yourself. The key to the magazine pouches and where you're going to locate them on your belt is how quickly you want to be able to reload. Now, I'm not going to try to be super fast here, but I just want to show you that if they're angled, the nice thing about it is, as I'm up and shooting and it's time for a mag change, watch what happens. I drop this mag, my hand immediately comes naturally to my side, and because the magazine is angled, it's easy to pick up and come up into the gun. Because it's angled, it's easy to pick up, come up into the gun. Easy to pick up, come up into the gun. So I try not to take my eyes off of the target, and if we can make these things to where they're easy to get to, right, and easy to not take your eye off of things, that's really what it's all about. So look for that in good magazine pouches, especially for the pistol. Now, when we're talking about the AR pouches, I'm going to kick these off to the side a little bit. Really, all I have is one cheap AR pouch that I bought off of, I think I got this off of Amazon. Why? Because I use a 40 round magazine for my AR, and generally speaking in a stage you're not going to have more than 40 shots. And even if you do, this thing is very easy to get to. Again, I'm just reaching back, I'm bringing it forward and up into the rifle. So that's why I like this in the back, because I generally don't even have to get to it. So that takes care of the pistol pouches and the AR pouches. Well, shotgun caddies are another integral part of how you're going to shoot your 3-gun stage. When you get to your shotgun, you need to have your shells in the right position and easy for you to get to. This option on this side is a 2-up option. 2, 2, 2, 2. The shells in this caddy are 4, 4, 4. So this caddy is used more for what they call quad loading, okay? Then you have other options. You have a chest rig, which you could put on your chest, put the shells here, and depending on, again, on how you're gonna grab them. I'm not a big fan of this. I wish I hadn't spent the money on it. And then I have a drop leg mount, which I really, really like. So the way this would work is, in place of, say, this rig here, I would just hook this. And these are all Safariland mounts, by the way. I would just take this one off, because I can. I can just take this whole thing off of here, like that. Put this one on, like that. Tie it around my leg. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 24 rounds right here. So again, it depends on how you want to load the shotgun. So if I look at the shotgun, it is unloaded. Nothing in here. There's nothing in the tube. And these are dummy rounds. They say dummy right on them. So if I was going to boom, 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 done, right? Strong hand, then I would load like this. I've got these shells in backwards if I was going to do that. Boom, 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 come down, grab my shells, load. That's the deuce. Then I could grab the quads, load, load. Now I've loaded the quads. So it depends on how you want to load your shotgun, right? And then you're coming back up and you're on target. So just think about what you want to start with. I would start very simple with these two caddies right here. That gives you a quad caddy. It gives you a deuce quad caddy as well. The other thing about the quad is, look, I can still grab 2 off of here. I don't have to grab quads. I can still grab deuces. It's kind of a little odd, but I can still do it. So don't think you have to buy a quad caddy and learn quad right off the bat, right? I'm still getting used to quads, to be honest with you. But so that should be all you need to know about the shotgun caddies. Let's talk about magazines now. So I'm going to start with the AR. And from an AR magazine perspective, I have 2 40-round magazines, 2 30-round magazines, and 1 10-round magazine. Sometimes you'll get to a stage that will say you can only load 5 rounds or 10 rounds, and you can't use these large magazines for that. I've only seen that once, but I've seen it. Then you're borrowing someone else's stuff. With a 30 or with a 40-round mags and the 30-round mags, only load 39 rounds and 29 rounds respectively. It'll save you a lot of issues with jams and stuff that I've seen both myself and with other competitors. So that's the AR mags. These are just standard Magpul magazines. You can get them pretty much anywhere. I don't do the windows because after every stage, I empty my entire magazine and I start over with my loading clips that you'll see here in a little bit. From a pistol standpoint, you're going to get the magazines that come with your pistol, and you're going to want to add some extensions to those magazines. I'm using two types. This is a Terran tactical extension, and this is a 5 or a 4 round extension. So this magazine holds 18 rounds, and with this 4 round extension it gives me a total of 22 rounds. Then I also have, everything's unloaded. Remember, we've said the gun is unloaded. I also have from Taylor Freelance a 10 round extension, and this is the mag that I start off with. I start the stage with this this magazine because it gives me 28 rounds. Now again, as I said before, I could take one of these other mags out, load a round in the chamber, take that mag out, and then load this one, and that would give me 29 total rounds. So it just depends on how you want to do that. But I would get mag extensions for sure. The other thing to consider with mag extensions is this. Make sure that that mag extension is going to work with your pistol. You don't want to get this mag extension on there, go to insert it in your pistol, and all of a sudden you can't insert it because the extension's in the way. Do your research, make sure that that extension will work with your pistol with a mag well on it, or even if you don't have a mag well on it, just make sure that you do that research. And as far as that goes, that's pretty much it for the magazines. Get your extensions, make sure your magazines are clean. I clean them about every 3 matches, take them apart, clean them, and they'll last you forever. If you're going to shoot pistol only matches, not 3-gun matches, then you're going to want to consider how much of an extension you can put on your magazine, because in some pistol only matches, IDPA and so forth, you can only have a certain length magazine, and this one I believe is going to be beyond that length. You may need to file down a corner of the mag extension. It's just going to depend. So take all of that into consideration. I don't shoot pistol matches, I just shoot 3-gun, so it doesn't matter. I shoot open 3-gun, so I can do whatever I want. That's another thing you want to consider is if you're not shooting in open, then see what the rules are as far as how many rounds you can have in your magazine at any one time. So we talked about belts, magazines, shotgun shell caddies, holster and holster mount, and the magazines. Let's talk about the ammo. So you're going to take the ammo to the match, you're going to store it during the match and use it, consume it. So what I like to do is I like to use a crate because it's going to go on the front of my buggy. We're going to get to the buggies here in a minute. And then I like to use individual ammo pouches for the various, for my rifle and my pistol. Okay, well here's the crate, and I had a smaller one. I don't know if you can see this, but this just wasn't big enough, so I went with a larger one. So in this large one, I can fit all of the shotgun ammo that I'm going to need for the match in there. So I've got a bunch of boxes of that. I throw in my rifle ammo, a few boxes of that, a few boxes of pistol ammo, and generally what I do here, I use these bags. I love these things. I got them on Amazon. I think they were 11 bucks each. I ended up cutting out the internal, kind of this liner on the internal, but I kept this external one because I like the fact that they kind of cinch up here. And then I just labeled it. This one's 223, this one's 9mm, and the other thing I like about it is I've got my speed loader device in here, and all I do, folks, is when I'm sitting at home before the match, or actually, yeah, before the match, I will load these up and put them in old ammo boxes. So that's all that is. They're just strips. And then when I get to the match, here's another thing. I'm just a stickler for loading my ammo at the stage. I don't load the night before. I can just quickly load this in here. Let's see if I can show you this. And you just slip it down there. And I just loaded 10 rounds. So I take 3 of these, take 1 out, so I get 29 rounds. I load 3 of them in there and I'm done, right? And I usually have 4 boxes like this with 70 rounds in each box. So I have 280 rounds, which is more than enough for a match. And then, as I said, when I come home, I'll sit down, watch TV, and I'll just start loading these strips up. So that's kind of what I do for the rifle. And then the pistol is the same thing, right? You've got your pistol. I've got my speed loader for my pistol. I've got my 9mm rounds down in here. Generally what I'll do is I'll take some boxes the day of the match and just dump them in here. So I'll have 200, 250 rounds in this bag, and I can actually attach this, and you'll see me do this when we get to the cart. I'll attach this to the cart, and then I just grab the bag and load my magazines. So that's about as simple as it gets. I like to keep things simple, as you know. I don't like things all over the place, so all of my ammo fits in this crate. And remember, if you watched my PRS videos about the boxes, then I just have this crate, one of the Lowe's or Home Depot storage bins below, and my guns. And that's it. And I know I have everything for my match. Well, let's talk about optics choices. Here's another one that you are going to spend a lot of money on. And I hope that you don't. So let's talk about my quick journey with the pistol optic, right? So from a pistol optic standpoint, let me grab the pistol over here. It is unloaded. Remember, it's unloaded. I went with iron sights for a long time, and then I decided to go with a red dot. Now, the only red dot that I've actually had on this pistol or any of my pistols is the Vortex. So I have been really happy with this. This is the Venom. If you want to be like iron sights or open, you can put anything on this pistol you want to. I'm open, so that's why I have a red dot, and it just suits me. Optic on a pistol may not suit you at all, and that's fine. Don't use one then. Let's talk about the rifle. This is the big one. This is the one that's going to give you heartburn, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. So the optic I have on here now is a Leupold VX6. I'm in love with this optic. It has a great dot on it. It is 1:6 magnification, so if you get in one of those matches that you have to shoot out 3, even 400 yards, it's got the magnification to take you there. It has a BDC, or a bullet drop compensation reticle. Unfortunately, they don't make this anymore, so you're going to have to look at something else if you want to go to a scope type optic. Other options, what I started off with on this rifle was a cheap AccuShot. This lasted on the rifle for about 3 matches. And then I realized that number one, I was trying to put a 3-12 magnification scope on a rifle that I was shooting targets less than 50 yards 95% of the time with, and this was just useless. So I took it off. Then I went with, let me put the rifle down. It is unloaded, it does have the chamber flag in it, as you see. Set this down here. Then I went with the Bushnell, the famous Bushnell. I think this is what, TS25 is what this one is. This is a really good red dot. This is, if I was going to tell you to start with any optic and you didn't want to jump right up to a $500-600 scope like that Leupold, I would say this Bushnell is fantastic. Now, the only thing that this doesn't have is magnification. So what I did was what a lot of guys do is they will put a magnifier in front of it, right? So this magnifier goes in front. I think it goes in front or behind. I can't remember now. Anyway, it goes either way. And now you have a 3x magnifier that you can flip out of the way. And if you need to get to just this red dot. Okay. The thing to consider with all of this is, remember what I just said about that AccuShot. You want an optic that is true 1x. True 1x. If you don't remember anything about what I'm telling you in this section, remember that. The other thing from an accessory standpoint, an equipment accessory standpoint, and I talk about this on my rifle video, is please don't get a quick detach mount. Now, if you're going to go with that Bushnell red dot, then you can probably get away with that quick detach mount. If you're going to mount something like this that's going to stay on this gun, and you want to be able to do this with it and not worry about it coming out of zero, don't get a quick detach. Get a good mount. This is a worn mount, but get a good mount. Mount that scope properly, zero it, and you're going to be happy forever with that. Hearing protection is a very important part of shooting, as you all know, and when you get into 3-gun, you're going to really want some good hearing protection. You're shooting different calibers of guns, and you really want to protect yourself. I started with the foam inserts with those red, the red headsets, which worked pretty good, but they get in the way when you're trying to get down on your gun for a shot. And then I went to these Howard Lay Impact Sports, which have an adjustment on them, right? You can turn this on and you can hear people talking, and these do a really good job against the gunshots. But I still wore the foam inner ears with these, just to be safe. And then I went to, when I started shooting PRS, because of the bolt gun, I have to get right down on that thing, so I didn't want those to get in my way. I went ahead and got the auto noise barriers. Now, I do a review of these, so I'm not going to go into super detail about them, but these things are awesome. There's a big jump in price between these and these. So, just go with what your budget can allow, and you'll be happy either way. Just one last thing about hearing protection that I would recommend is, if you're going to shoot indoors, if you're going to go to the range to practice your pistol or even your rifle, if they let you shoot an AR inside, please do double protection. So wear the foam inserts and these Howard Lays, right? Or if I'm shooting indoors and I'm still going to use my autos, I use my autos and I use the Howard Lays, just to be safe, because inside, that the report from these guns just is magnified back to you. So please practice safe ear protection. From an eye protection standpoint, I started with the normal shooting goggles that you can get on Amazon. And then, I need glasses. So I went ahead and bought some other goggles off Amazon that actually have kind of a 1.5 built into them. I don't know if you can see that there, but you can see the difference. So I bought those, and these worked pretty good for a while. The thing about these is, though, they kind of come out and around. They kind of get in the way. So then I went with a company called Tactical RX, and these are prescription glasses made from my prescriptions. So these are these have the same prescription that these glasses have, and they even have a bifocal built in down here. They're really nice. I like them a lot. And again, it just depends on your budget and what you can afford. You might look at your eye vision insurance, because I think mine helped out with these. And if it didn't, I was able to use, I think, my HSA or FSA dollars to purchase these. So again, just really important. And when we're looking at the eyewear and eye protection, really what we're trying to do is save our eyes from those fragments that come off of shooting that steel at fairly close ranges. When you're in a match, you're shooting your pistol at steel targets that might be 10 yards, 15 yards out, and you'll get pelted, right? It's never drawn blood on me, but I've sure felt them, and I know that if that hit my eye, I'd have some problems there. So that's really why you're wanting to wear the eye protection. Get eye protection that's going to cover your eyes, right, like these do. Don't get, you're not going to wear these types of glasses out there, because things can come up under and whatnot. So that's really all I have to say about eye protection. Do your research, get what your budget allows, and just protect those eyes. So the last major piece of equipment is the carriage, or the buggy. Some guys just haul their stuff around without one. But mostly in 3-gun, you'll see people with these carts. Some people have the gas-powered 4-wheelers and stuff like that, but I just keep it simple. This is a baby carriage that's been repurposed. I got some of the camping kind of clamps here, a pair on this side and a pair on this side, so you can get the shotgun here, the rifle here, and then this is the ammo crate we were talking about. And all I do is I have bungee cords coming from this side over and this side over, so it stays there. And I also did Velcro on the bottom here and then on this, so it kind of keeps it at least somewhat stable on there. And then my backpack fits perfectly right here. And then what I do, remember I was telling you about those ammo bags. Well, basically what I do here is I just hang those then off the side of the cart. So my ammo bags just hang right there, and when I'm ready to reload, I just pull it off of here, take it to the reloading table, or I bring it right here, and I've got a little platform here to reload on. And this has plenty of room underneath for the first aid kit. I usually hang my water jug off back there as well, and then it's got some room in here for some other things. So all in all, this works really well for me, and you can pick these up. I mean, you could buy it new if you wanted to, like Walmart, or you can pick them up on eBay or Craigslist or whatever, pretty darn cheap. So consider this type of a setup. Some people use the foldable wagons, whatever is going to work for you. Just make sure that your guns are either going to be facing down like this, or if you're going to get a cart or a wagon, make sure the guns are going to be facing up. They generally don't want you with the guns horizontally, because then you're sweeping people as you're moving around, and that's not good, even though you have chamber flags in your guns. From a miscellaneous standpoint, it's really whatever you feel you need. I would just say get yourself a nice pack like this. I love this thing. I've had it for, 6 years now, and it shows no sign of wear whatsoever. But you're going to want things like, a knife, an all-purpose tool, screwdrivers, a bunch of hex tools for sure, cleaning supplies, some gun grease, a bore snake for your rifle, cleaning patches and whatnot, bug spray, just anything that you think you're going to need out there when you're shooting. And then of course you've got all your other stuff that you're going to put in here, right? Your eyewear, your ear protection, your magazines can go up here in a container. This has my PRS mags in it right now, but I put my 3-gun mags in there when I'm out shooting 3-gun. But this really has some good compartments to hold everything in it. And also the thing I like about this one is it has a compartment here. Now I don't use it for that, but it has a compartment here that's solid, and it has these sleeves that you can put your pistol in, and then you can just slide this sleeve in here. Now I've got a bunch of other stuff in there. This is a really nice feature of this, and I'll put a link to this in there. I got it off of Amazon. It's been really good. So from a miscellaneous standpoint, I didn't want to spend a lot of time on it. Just think about all the things that you want to take with you so you're not stranded out there. So many times we're at a match and someone says, does anyone have a hex wrench? And I'm like, dude, you should have not only this, but here's the container that has about 30 different hex wrenches for my scope, my guns, everything. So make sure you're prepared when you go out there. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and it gave you an idea of all the other things that you're going to need to get into 3-gun and to get to your first match. The next video in this series, which is going to be the last video, is going to be about what do we do when we get to our first match, right? How do we prepare? How do we get everything ready? And what can we expect when that buzzer goes off, and to plan just before the buzzer? I have some videos out there already that run through some stages and things that I think about during a stage, and then I actually shoot that stage so you can see, did I actually do what I was hoping I was going to do on that stage? So I'll put those somewhere up here. But anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I really appreciate the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions. And we'll see you on the next video. Until then, shoot straight.